This week started with a beautiful snowfall. Surprisingly, this was the first snowfall this year. It's nice to finally see a white blanket cover the gray and brown trees. It's insane how it can make everything feel so crisp and beautiful. I often go to this park near my apartment. I love to take walks in nature. It helps me clear my mind. With the snow, I couldn't help but pull out my camera and capture all the beauty around. I started a new painting, and this one originally was based off of a digital drawing I did some time back. I love the composition of it, and I wanted to refine it and execute it on a larger size on canvas. This is probably the biggest painting that I've ever done, and I think I underestimated a bit how difficult it would be to cover all that real estate. I did a rough sketch with some sangina, just so I could see where everything was laid out. Sangina is a great medium. I enjoy the burnt orange color, and I find that it is less messy under paint than, let's say, a charcoal. Of course, I still always use a fixative for added protection. I went in with acrylic paint here. I found that the medium was very difficult to work with, especially in such a large size. I used the golden acrylics, and they are by far my favorite acrylic paint, but they were still very difficult to work with. I found that because the medium was drying so quickly, it didn't give me enough time to blend everything out, so everything was becoming a little muddy and too blocky for my liking. On Wednesday, one of my good friends invited me to the Mugler exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum. It was a lovely exhibition. I was completely blown away by the 3D hologram that they had when you entered the exhibit. Mugler did theatrical costumes for the Lady Macbeth production in France, I believe in around 1985. I never knew that he did theatrical costumes, so that was amazing and very interesting to see. His work in general was impeccable. The creativity in each piece and the craftsmanship was amazing to see up close. I may be a bit biased as I did study fashion design, but fashion is such a beautiful art form. And I don't just mean the fast fashion that you buy in boatloads and just contribute to waste. I mean, these garments that just create an image and tell a story. Mugler was definitely a designer that did that, and it was so inspiring to see his work up close. When you see photos of garments, sometimes a lot of detail can get lost in translation. But his garments are such beautiful pieces and create such a beautiful atmosphere. And whoever curated the exhibit did a phenomenal job. Each room that you walked into felt like a completely different setting. If you are from New York City or visiting, I highly recommend to go visit this exhibit. It was absolutely beautiful. The museum gave me such a burst of energy and creativity. I felt so excited to paint when I got home. I felt that the exhibit gave me a whole new perspective on how to approach the painting. I decided to switch to oils. The acrylics were just not working, so I decided instead of fussing and being frustrated that I would just switch over. The oils flowed a lot easier, and they were giving me time to plop color and come back and blend it out later. This painting also presented a lot of trouble for me with the lighting. Like I said before, my reference that I used was a digital drawing that I had done just late at night on the couch, so I didn't have great lighting reference on it. So I improvised and decided to use the app, I believe it's called Head Model Studio. And I've heard a lot of artists talk about this, and specifically Miriam Hoffman, who's an amazing oil painter. And it's an app where you can map out lighting on different busts, and you can change the color, you can do different light sources. It's really an amazing app for any artist. So I decided to map it out, and then I also gathered a few different reference photos for the features that I wanted to incorporate on this girl. On Friday night, I had tickets to a light show exhibit. I had heard of these before, but I had never been to one personally. I wish I could leave the music in for you guys because the imagery going to the beat was quite incredible. But YouTube copyright and all that. It's hard to showcase on camera, but it was a very interesting, immersive experience, and I'll let the visuals speak for themselves. Saturday morning and I'm back on the grind. I'm so happy that I made the switch to oils and left those acrylics behind. I feel the flow so much more with this medium. At this point, I'm a little unsure of the skin tone and color palette of this piece overall. So I went back to the drawing board and came up with a few options on the iPad. I love Procreate because it allows you to play around without too much commitment. I came up with these options for the color palette and decided to do more of a gray tone skin. This painting is a very personal one for me, as well as the series as a whole. I'm exploring depression, my own, and depression in general, and the journey that one takes to overcome it. She is going to be the main protagonist in the series, and I wanted to show her transform and transition. In this painting, she is gray and lifeless, only her hair and eyes show color. And eventually, through the series, you'll see her transform and transition. By the time Saturday afternoon came, I felt very drained emotionally. This painting was a difficult one to paint, as it felt like I was facing myself throughout the process, facing some of my demons that I learned to let go of in the last few years. I needed to get out of the house and away from my paints. I always go to the park when I need a moment to think or breathe. I walk or journal, even meditate some days. Sometimes just watching the trees blow in the breeze or the river flow allows you to recenter and reground yourself. I'm always amazed at how such a tiny little park can feel like its own beautiful habitat, even when there are cars rustling by not even minutes away. Once I returned from the park, I got back to work. I felt like I took my needed breath and grabbed a warm cup of tea, and I just started going at the painting again. Sunday came around, and I'm feeling tired but excited that this piece is finally looking like how I imagined it. I'm allowing the flow to guide me as I complete the finishing touches on the girl. I've been contemplating this whole time if I should name her or not, but I decided against it for now. At this point, we know that she's our protagonist, and we are following her story along, but I will see how that unfolds from here.